Hi, my name is Robin Wong, and it is raining heavily in Kuala Lumpur, but the shoot goes on. I hope that the rain sound is not too distracting. I'm not sure how capable is this mic in isolating my voice, but it is a good time to find out. In this particular video, I want to share my thoughts on everything that is wrong with the cameras today. I think that we are living in a very exciting time. The modern digital cameras are getting better and better. Every camera manufacturer out there is chasing technical perfection, and we have more choices out there than we had before. However, I felt that the camera manufacturers have not gotten a lot of things right, and since we are in a fast-moving digital world, the camera industry is not exactly catching up on pace. Therefore, I do want to share my thoughts on the aspects that I think the camera manufacturers have missed out or how they could have improved. Number one, camera design. I just feel that most DSLR and mirrorless cameras look the same. They are not too dissimilar when it comes to camera design. There is the typical hump, or if it's a rangefinder retro look, there is a camera grip. And I'm not complaining about the form factor of the camera. If it works, if you have to have the viewfinder bump, if you need to have a comfortable hand-holding grip, that's perfectly fine. But that doesn't discount the fact that the cameras all basically look the same. It is very difficult to tell apart if you are not photography or camera savvy. Now let's take a look at some very innovative or different distinctive design that have come up in the recent years. Take a look at the Litro camera. I know that the Litro didn't really survive the industry and they sort of went sideways, but the camera design is really different. On the other hand, there is the Hasselblad X1D. I know that it is a medium format, sort of modular design. It is not exactly similar with the DSLR or typical mirrorless camera, but the camera design is really different and it looks really cool and it's inspiring and it's modern, right? It is not the same design which is reused over and over and over again. No, going back to the retro classic design can only work so far, but if you keep looking at the design again and again, it gets redundant, and honestly, when there's too many retro and classic design, they all just look the same. It is 2020, and I strongly believe that the camera department can do with a little bit of refresh when it comes to design. I am sure that the camera manufacturers can do a lot better to make the cameras look more modern and appealing and having aesthetics that match the modern times. Number two, too many buttons and too many controls and settings on a camera. Honestly, I don't want 20 buttons and 5 dials on a camera. Why can't the camera operation be a lot more minimalist and simpler? Take a look at smartphones. Initially, mobile phones have a lot of buttons, but everyone did away with the buttons. We have a huge functional touchscreen. I believe similarly this can be applied for cameras as well. Most DSLRs and mirrorless cameras today have about 3-inch or slightly bigger LCD screen on the back of the camera, and I believe that the screen to body ratio can be significantly improved. Why can't we have a 5-inch or larger screen? Just like what the BMPCC, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera is doing, the bright LCD 5-inch Full HD display that is functional and great to look at. With a larger LCD screen size, we can pack in more touch-based operations. We can get rid of a lot of the shortcut buttons or the dials that we don't need. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we don't need the shutter button or we don't need the command dials. Leave the two main command dials, the front and the back dial, and the shutter button, and maybe just 1 or 2 shortcut buttons on a camera. We don't need about 10 to 20 buttons. All these buttons can be effectively replaced by a functional touch-based operation. We are living in an age where everything is touchscreen based. We have large screen displays, tablets, smartphones, even laptop screens are touch-based. I think that the camera design has to follow that, and the dinosaur design of having too many dials, too many buttons, dials on dials, and so many hidden settings, this will definitely have to go. I understand that it will not be easy to simplify the operation of the camera using the touchscreen based. It is not impossible with smartphones which can do a lot more functions than the camera can do it. I'm sure a camera which is made for a singular function of taking photographs and also video, this can surely be made possible on the touchscreen. Someone has to figure out how to do it, someone will have to pioneer the steps, and I'm sure this is the future of cameras. Number 3, connectivity. I've talked about this before and I'll briefly mention it again in this video. Why do we need to take out the SD card from the camera, put it into a memory card reader, connect it into a computer, then we download the files into the computer, do post-processing and upload it from the computer to Facebook or Instagram or any other social media? There are just too many steps in between. Why don't we have a connection from the camera direct to the cloud storage using Wi-Fi? We are moving to the era of 5G connectivity. The internet is going to be blazing fast. I'm sure it's not a problem to connect the camera direct to the cloud storage. Put a SIM card into the camera, allow a direct connectivity from the camera to the internet. We can directly take a photograph and have that photograph backed up immediately on cloud storage. Then, using an app on our smart devices, we can view the photographs on the cloud and pull it down immediately for us to use. If the screen on the camera is large enough, say if it's 5-inch or more, we can also perform post-processing on the camera itself. This can surely minimize the digital photography workflow. Furthermore, do we really need an SD card? Why don't we have an internal storage? I'm sure it's not difficult to fit a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte fast storage in the camera, where this will get rid of one possible failure mechanism. I'm not saying that we get rid of all the additional storage altogether. Yes, maintain that SD card slot just in case that we need to use an SD card, but we should have an internal storage. What's wrong with internal storage? All smartphones today have a massive internal storage. Coupling that with the use on the cloud storage, I think we will have a camera of the future. Furthermore, while we are talking about connectivity, we should have more expansion on the Bluetooth capability. Why don't we have a microphone that is Bluetooth connected to the camera? Why don't we have an audio monitoring connected to the camera by Bluetooth? If the camera already have the Bluetooth module built in, why don't we allow the camera to connect to all these multiple devices controlled on the main camera by Bluetooth? I think having a wireless Bluetooth microphone and a wireless Bluetooth. Number 4, JPEG is an outdated format. It is already 2020, and the fact that the JPEG is still the main used image format everywhere universally, it is time to move on to a more efficient format, and a format that is much smaller and yet contains a lot more information. I'm not saying that we have to get rid of the RAW file, keep the RAW file. For a lot of serious photographers or for professional use, we will definitely want to use the RAW file, which contains all the information that the camera can capture. Maintain the RAW file, but the JPEG file is so inferior that once you have the JPEG file, there is very little you can do in terms of extracting information or stretching the file. I'm sure that with improvement of compression technology, we can have a much more efficient file format that can allow a little bit more versatility and flexibility when it comes to image processing or stretching what the information is available in an image file. I know that the Canon in the latest 1DX Mark III release is propagating the HEIF file format, HEIF, which stands for High Efficiency Image File Format. I am not sure if this is the right way to move forward, but hey, we do need to move into something more efficient, and JPEG has to go. With a smaller size image which contains a lot more information, it will allow faster loading times on social media as well as web pages. And if that new image file contains enough information to be extracted and be used for minor post-processing tweaks, rather than a fully compressed JPEG file, that can actually replace the RAW file in a lot of situations where minor correction in terms of white balance and a little bit of recovery in the shadow and highlight region are required. Finally, number 5, what's wrong with the camera industry today? The lenses are getting larger and larger, and honestly, they are becoming monstrous. Look at any lenses that are released by any manufacturers in the modern days. They are getting huge. When a typical 50mm standard prime lens becomes larger and heavier than the camera itself, something is definitely wrong with the lens design. I know that in pursuit for technical perfection, we want to put larger and larger lenses to correct for all the technical flaws. We want the lens to be as sharp as possible, resolving more and more megapixels. But when the lens becomes so huge and so heavy, it defeats the purpose of photography in the first place. I'm not saying that the optics design or development should stop. I think that we should pursue to strive to get better and better lenses when it comes to optics. And yes, the optics can still be further improved, but part of the challenge is to create lenses that are still small, manageable, and yet having excellent optical performance. Of course, there'll be compromises there and here. We may not get like super sharp from corner to corner. There might be some minor issues, but having a lens that is too huge and impractical to use, I think that is moving away from the objective of a modern product design. Look at the smartphones. They are getting slimmer and slimmer. Look at the laptop. They're also getting much smaller with the bezel-less screen design. All the devices, all the modern digital devices are getting smaller, more portable, and easier to carry around. But the cameras are doing the opposite. The cameras, while I applaud Canon and Nikon finally going mirrorless, but the lenses, the high quality lenses that they have are nothing but small. I'm not talking about just specifically Canon and Nikon, I'm talking about everyone as well, every player in the industry. We should stop making lenses that are too huge. We should have lenses that are truly compact, easier to manage, and yet delivering fantastic quality. The main reason I'm using micro four thirds now is for the small size of the cameras and lenses. But I do admit that even in micro four thirds, some of the lenses have encroached the sizes that are even larger than DSLR lenses. I'm not asking the lenses and cameras to be ridiculously tiny that they can fit into a shirt pocket. I'm just asking for the cameras and lenses to be matched in size and easily manageable. That's all I have to share in this particular video. I feel that there are a lot of things that the camera manufacturers are doing wrong and could have done better. The camera design should be updated and refreshed for a modern look. There shouldn't be too many buttons on the camera, and they should take advantage of a larger LCD screen edge to edge, perhaps 5-inch or larger, and make the camera operation more touch-based instead of relying on buttons. There are a lot that can be improved when it comes to connectivity. I would like to see a direct connection to the cloud storage from the camera. I want to see built-in internal storage, and I want to see more expansion when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity. Furthermore, JPEG is an outdated format. It is time that we replace JPEG with a more efficient file format. And finally, lenses. Big lenses. I think that it is not the right decision to create monstrous looking lenses to be attached on newer camera bodies. Do you agree or disagree with my points? Or do you have any additional thoughts that you would like to add? Please leave them in the comments below. I would definitely love to hear from you. What do you think of the current cameras in the market today? What are the things that can be improved looking at the cameras that's available for us? If you have enjoyed watching this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to this channel, and I will definitely see you again in the next one. Until then, please remember to go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.